Hey, very good evening to everyone. This is Master Kevin Fong. Very glad to see all of you here tonight. How you guys doing? Right. So now for tonight, we'll be talking a little bit more on the subject on Qi Men Dun Jia. So that's a little bit of practical training, I will actually say. So to equip you guys with some of the knowledge. So just thought I'll give a bit of shout out to some of you guys. Hi, good evening, Diana. Good evening, Maya. Hi, Shirley. Hi, Mabel. Hi, Jackson. Hi, Leo. Leo from Amsterdam. Wow, that's nice. Okay. So hi, Mina. Hi, Selena. Okay. So just let me know where you guys is logging in from. All right. So tonight, I think that the last time I got on live probably is about maybe more than 10 days ago. Yeah, because I was very busy with consultations and doing a lot of filming for the upcoming training. So tonight everything is all set. So I thought that technically I can actually try to get you guys to be back, on the part on Qi Men Dun Jia. All right. So just let me know how you guys is connecting. Is the sound everything okay for you guys? Just let me know if the sound testing is okay. It's fine. Hi Cynthia. Hi Flor. Hi Maple. Well, a lot of you guys is logging in advance, yeah. So hi Annie. Hi Sue Hole and Marilyn. Hi Pamela. Hi Joanne. Gerald. Ron. Yes. Oh, my instructors. Susan. Hi Ting Yu. Oh, that's very nice name. Okay. Hi Elizabeth. Okay. So a lot of you is connecting from different places. Just let me know where you guys is connecting in from. So sound is good, yeah? So thanks, Jackson, for the feedback. Okay, so at least I know that the sound is good. Okay, in case some of you is saying that there may be echo, this and that, it might be you have to plug in from your earpiece or stuff like that. Sometimes it's double playing, right? So, but I think on our end should be pretty good. I mean, we have been doing this for a long time. Hi, Francis. Hi, Mayet. Hi, Yet Bob. Okay, hi, Jeanette from Malaysia. Okay, so just let me know where you guys are connecting in from. So tonight, technically, I was just trying to talk on the subject on Qi Men Dun Jia. So I think some of you has been through a little bit of training. You're already in my Qi Men starter program. Okay, now for some of you, you are not in any form of training yet. It's okay. So today, I just thought that I actually take you from scratch, right? So technically, if you know this art, I mean, this art is something that me and my team has been using every single day, right? So it's an additional powerful tool that we can be leveraging using the current time space, and it allows you to kind of decode everything that you need to be finding out from. So just imagine this. Sometimes in life, we are met with situation whereby we don't really know what's the answers, right? So should I go with A? If A will brings me to that option, or should I go with B? So it's this kind of decisions like that is going to be very put you in the place of dilemma. So one of the quickest way we can actually do it is using Qi Men, right? So tonight I will talk a little bit on Qi Men strategy and Qi Men divination. So you want to stay with me to the end of this stream because I have personally selected a powerful date and time. All right, this is for ushering wealth and sales. Right, so if you are doing sales, you want to be doing some closing, or some of you says, how about I want to be using this to change my career? You can, right? So I've actually researched quite a bit of time on that. I come up with a date and time based on the future, right? So technically, I'll give you advice how to go about doing it. So make sure you stay with me to the end of the training because I will only be releasing to the end, right? It comes with a PDF guide, so everything is guided. So you make sure that you're not lost and everything, right? So, and of course, what you'll be looking at here right now, technically, is also looking at a few things, right? Technically, in terms of Qi Men Dun Jia, there's many different discipline, right? So just make sure that if you've got any questions, I'll reserve to the end. The end part of it will be a Q&A session. So if you've got any questions, this and that, just do let us know. Now, while you are with me on this, please help me to do a favor. Help me to like and share the post because every time you're doing this, it's going to benefit a lot more users. So you see, we have people connecting from Amsterdam, from Malaysia, from Mexico, Cambodia. So there's a lot of people that could be using a lot of metaphysics training. So what you're doing here is, in fact, all of our metaphysics training that we are doing on Facebook Live is completely free, right? So as long as you are able to spend some time, a little bit of time and investment on the training itself, you realize that you actually got started pretty easily because we have the tools that's really available for you guys, right? So I have a lot of people. So Pang is calling in from Shah Alam, Malaysia. Wow, very very warm welcome. We have Simona from Spain. Why? Very warm welcome to you. So you see, technically we have people from all over the world. So please help me to do a favor, help me to like and share. And of course, as usual, today we will still have a mini lucky draw session, right? So just to ensure that we want you a little bit of a time. Plus, the lucky draw session that we're going to do today, it's very simple. There will be two users, right? So two users will be able to embark on our 八字 Jumpstart program, right? It's a program that we retails for $497. So we'll actually give it to two lucky users who actually, there's a few criteria to do it, right? So you want to participate, this is what you have to do. First and foremost, you have to like and share, right? So later on, when I actually do a random selection using my phone, what will happen is this: using my phone, I'll be able to actually just do a refresh of the screen, and after that, I'll actually do a pick on the first user that I actually see on the screen. So if you like and share, you obtain this status that's called a sharer, right? So once you've gotten a sharer, what will technically happen is then you'll be qualified for the lucky draw, which you can actually win the prize, which is actually access to our online training program, 八字 Jumpstart, that's valued at $497. Now, of course, enrolling to the Jumpstart program is not the start. The most fulfillment that I can got from here is now, if you still remember, previously we have a few lucky draw winners. What happened is two of them actually dropped us an email and saying that, you know what, ever since they started using the 八字 Jumpstart program, he actually did a forecasting on what is about to happen in the upcoming 4 months. And then technically later on, what he actually does is he tries to go on different interviews. So all of a sudden he sees that in 4 months' time, very likely he's going to get a new job offer. And he actually got started. And he also followed us on the Qi Men training. So there was one activation I actually provided. So if you have been with me for a while, you probably received a little bit of email from my team and myself. Technically, we'll send you emails time to time on Qi Men prosperous date and time. Sometimes, Qi Men Dun Jia can be used on many different purposes. Sometimes it can be used for healing. Sometimes just to get clarity. So there'll be a lot of times that we might be feeling a little bit lost and what's not. But there will be times whereby technically, if you actually, wants to tap onto certain things, you can actually do it, right? So that's how we actually go about doing it. And you want to be sharing with me on that. So what actually happened is this. So for example, Xuan Yi is now a sharer, right? So if you look at, let me just put out Xuan Yi first. Okay, so Xuan Yi is now a sharer. So if you look at the comment section, how do you get the sharer is you have to like, you have to share, and you have to set the post to public, because if you don't do that, you will not obtain the status sharer. Of course, some of you are my top fan. So top fan, immediately you qualify. So what does top fan means? Means every time I start my stream, immediately you just like and share. So it's almost like you're part of the tribe. So to thank you for that, I'll be picking two of these lucky winners. Technically, as long later on, I will actually do a random selection, refresh of the screen. You can actually get to see on my mobile phone here. I'll actually do the refresh. So after that, you get to see it. So what technically happened is then that person will become a winner. But of course, if you are technically not a sharer, then I have to pick again, right? So I hope that you're not disappointed. So what you can do is just help me to like and share. That's all, right? So as long as you like and share, later on I'll pick two lucky winners. That will be sometime throughout this session. Now I intend to plan for this session for about maybe 45 minutes to an hour. So all it needs is about an hour at a time. So plus and minus, I'll be sharing some of the teaching in terms of Qi Men Dun Jia. Now today specifically, we can be sharing about two topics. I'll be talking about two topics. First is this part where we talk about Qi Men strategy. So in case you do not know, probably let me just begin, right? So a lot of you has like and share. So L and S, suppose there's like and share, right? So like and share, a lot of you have already done it. So if you have not done it, please try to do it. Help me to like and share, set the post to public. When you do that, you actually help us to reach a lot more people who can be coming on board to the free training. I mean, in any way, it's just a little bit of time, right? So technically, this is what I'll be doing here. Now, of course, for tonight, I want to be talking about Qi Men Dun Jia specifically. Let me just bring out my screen. Okay, this is what it is. Okay, so, okay, this is technically how we're going to be doing this a bit. So in the final part of the training, right, what will happen is I'll actually do a mini Q&A. You can ask me, questions that got to do with the training itself, right? Now I'll give you some of the guidelines of what do you technically know about Qi Men Dun Jia, or some of your questions that you may have about Qi Men Dun Jia, the application. So the good thing here is I actually have my pen, right? It's already prepared, so I can actually write on the screen, technically anywhere I want it, right? So let me just test it. Yeah, see, I can actually write on the screen right now. So that will be actually pretty easy for me. So now this is what I'll be trying to do here. So first and foremost, let's talk about this part where we know the term that's called Qi Men strategy. Now, how many of you heard of Qi Men Dun Jia? If you have heard of it, just click yes. All right, just type in yes in your comment if you have heard of the term Qi Men Dun Jia. So I know how many of you technically are newcomers. How many of you are new to the scene, right? So if you've heard of Qi Men Dun Jia, just type yes. Now, if you have not heard of Qi Men Dun Jia, just type no, right? So at least I know how many of you are newcomers. So at least I know how to go with the pace, whether faster or slower. So if you are actually more advanced users, I try to go a little bit more faster, so I can actually share more within this 1 hour time frame, right? So apparently what happened is we have launched our Qi Men starter a while ago, I think around 3 weeks ago, right? So the Qi Men starter, a lot of it is teaching you guys some basic training on Qi Men Dun Jia, all right? So quite a lot of you has came on board. So we have Ong, right? Ong the Chang say yes, Elizabeth yes, Felice yes, and Simona, right, from Spain, right? That's very nice country. Of course, Anthony yes, right, and Stephanie. Well, so a lot of you, right? So for example, me Halim, no, right? So some of you not familiar with Qi Men, that's fine, right? So today I'll take you from a level whereby you have zero knowledge to understanding how technically we use this art, right? So that's quite important, because technically some of you has a lot of emails coming in, a lot of messages. What happened is some of you is asking, how was I able to answer, we have live calls, the last few sessions, some of the live calls that came in, and then how was I actually able to answer the questions just based on the Qi Men chart, right? So everything is just based on the art of Qi Men Dun Jia, divination. I use the divination part to forecast based on the current hour, right, based on the question that's being asked, and then we can already get the outcome, right? So it is able to give you an outcome of all the different things, different action that kind of be taking. So example, if you take action A, this is what happened. If you take action B, what will happen? So how nice it is that if you are always equipped with these tools, that you always have the power of foresight, right? So imagine this, we don't want to be on the high side. High side is only when things happen, then you say, oh, I will prefer that, I should have done this earlier. But what if you have given the foresight, right? So the foresight is technically how we go about using Qi Men Dun Jia. Now, let me just touch on the part on Qi Men strategy. Now, why this is important, because later on, as I mentioned, you want to stay with me to the end of the training for two very big reasons. The first reason is that it's a lucky draw for 2 winners, right? So throughout this, I'll announce it halfway. So the 2 winners will get to participate in our Paths Jumpstart program, which is a $497 program to get you started on understanding your destiny code, right? So that's one. The second reason is technically I have prepared a date and time. This is based on my research work. Powerful date and time. This is for you if you want to be using it for sales, using it for closing, for negotiation, for wealth. So it's mainly more of a money generation date and time. So this is part of Qi Men strategy, right? So you want to stick with me to the end, because towards the end, I will actually give you guys a way to download the PDF guide. Inside, it contains the date and time and the instruction what to do, right? So of course, I'll talk a bit about the instruction here first. So at least it wants to be utilized this. The last time we had this, we sent it out. We had close to 400 feedbacks, right? 400 feedbacks. Our email list was blasted to a lot of people, and more than 400 came back immediately with the feedback. Some got promoted, some technically, used that to close. I remember there was this guy, he was saying that he got a $1 million cents deal, right? So that means I think he was in some buying or selling of sand, import and exporting of sand. And then was on this for a long time. They wasn't able to close it. And after using the date and time, they actually finally able to get traction, right? So remember, so many months has gone, but now they suddenly get traction. So why is this happening? It's actually a part of the things I'll be using here. This is called Qi Men strategy, right? So Qi Men strategy is very easy. Understanding that every hour, right? When you are new to Chinese metaphysics, when I talk about every hour, I'm talking about every 2 Western hour equal to 1 Chinese hour, right? So that's pretty easy, right? So technically the hour change in 1 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 7, 7 to 9, and so on and so forth. So technically every 2 Western hours, the Qi Men chart itself will change to a different chart with a different formation. Now, in Qi Men strategy, what we actually want to do is this. We usually, right, will plot and the chart in advance. So, example, if I want to be closing a sales on someone, right? So what I will do is I will be or I can click the Qi Men chart. If this is the first time you actually came to our Qi Men Dun Jia online. So what happened is this. Let me just give you this is qimen.live. I actually have the URL right in the middle of the slide. So if you don't have, just go to qimen.live. So if you go to qimen.live, it allows you to plot the date and time, right? The plus button will go on to the next hour chart, and it is very easy for you to hands on. In fact, we already designed this is solely for mobile version, so you get everything fitted just nicely in your mobile screen. These are the days, people don't usually bring their laptop or their desktop so much anymore, right? So technically, most of us tries to go with mobile, so we designed this for mobility, able for you to get the Qi Men chart, and then after that fulfill the outcome that you want. So technically, when you're using Qi Men Dun Jia for strategy, there's many different purposes that we're doing here. So first and foremost, if you're using for strategy, of course, most of the time we are using it for sales. Let's be honest here, right? Who agrees with me that financial is one of the biggest things that you have to focus right now? Who agrees with me? If you agree, type yes, right? So I just want to be realistic and practical. Okay, if you agree that financial focus is one of the key things you should be focusing on right now, type yes. Okay. In fact, right now, in Singapore, yesterday I think we just had a Singapore election, right? So a lot of work by the government, a lot of work by the all the different parties. Now, whatever happens, technically, this is the mandate has passed on for the government to go for another 5 years. So the country affairs that has been fixed. So right now, it's all about your personal goals, right? So there'll be a lot of personal goals that you want to be reaching. The first and foremost, I would say is this: we always have to be responsible for our own personal goals, right? So especially in terms of finances. Now, I always say this: if you are born poor, right, I don't really think that is your problem, all right? I mean, after all, we cannot choose, what our parents will have, or how rich they have, or what kind of money they will pass down to you. In fact, if you ask me, I prefer not to have any, liabilities from parents in terms of getting money from them, because if you get money from them, then there is a certain outcome you have to fulfill, right? So the best part is to depend on ourselves, right? So similarly, even as much as you get the most powerful government in the world, there's only that much the government can do for you. So ultimately, you are responsible for your own financial success, right? So if you agree with me on this, just type yes, right? I want you to recognize that, these days we are not going money crazy, right? We are not saying that money is the root of everything. But technically, in the current modern context, if you are really falling behind in terms of your financial goals, then you realize that a lot of problems will start to crop up, right? So you get problems like, relationship, right? So some of you will say that, hey, you know what, I probably just want a very simple roof, nothing like a big house or just a simple roof. But even that, right, in Singapore context will be like a few $100,000, right? A 3-room to a 4-room HDB flats will cost you $300,000 to $500,000 depending where you're buying. That's Sing dollars, right? So understanding that is very important. So I always say that if you are born poor, that's not exactly a problem. But if you die poor, is that actually a problem? What do you think? Just let me know in the comments. If you die poor, is that really a problem? So think about that. I think every one of us has a certain timeline in life, right? So if you say that the certain timeline is not in your favor, fair enough. But mark my words, there is no such thing as someone is having bad luck forever. There is no such thing, right? You do, yes, have challenging time for 10, 20, 30 years. But there's no such thing as 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. It's all challenging years. There is no such 八字chart, right? So if you actually convince yourself that, I would like you to leave yourself out of this zone and stop giving yourself this excuse that, I'm just bad luck, right? I'm never going to get the job that I want. So I'm not going to start that business I wanted to have. It's just simply bad luck. I wouldn't have the support. You see, whatever your mind focus, ultimately your outcome and your reality will start to shift that dimension, right? So if you focus on being poor or excuse and complain, all you see is just excuse and complain. This is what you'll be seeing in your life, right? So that's one part to be getting out of. So that's one of the key things that I always focus on, when we call our, 八字training program, we actually call it the 八字Mastery 10X. So when we talk about 10X, of course, the term is not invented by me. It was by this guy that's called Grant Cardone, right? So Grant Cardone from the States, he says that, a lot of things that if you plan 10 times, right, you're ahead of many ones that is behind you, right? But if you, let's say you plan 10 folds, you didn't manage to get your goals, but maybe you only get like 2 or 3 folds, still that is much, much better than whatever you're doing, right? So that's one of the key reasons I always want you guys to plan for the stars, right? So sales, has been one of the core things that I usually always like to talk about, because these days, if you're not closing, right? So some of you is saying that, but I don't work in a sales job, then how, right? So I will actually tell you this. You probably agree with me that in current COVID-19 context, there is no 100% stable job. You agree with me, right? Because some companies, they could be doing so well, right? If you look at Hertz Car Rental, if you look at a decade ago, they were one of the top car rental company. If you look at now, a lot of companies, especially the bigger you are, the more you are more exposed to the, the condition of the market that is dealing you with the cards right now. So that's something that you understand and agree that just a job now is no longer just something you should be looking for, right? Beside a job, there must be other things, other aspiration that you probably decide to do. Maybe if you get an idea that you want to start something, start a startup, or you want to just start a new cafe. My thought is I will always challenge you to go that direction, right? Because what's the worst that can happen? All right. So if you go and do that startups, the worst that can happen is, you lost a little bit of money, you lost a little bit of time, but you definitely gain experience what to do better in life, right? So if a lot of time I can be sharing so much of my, my past ventures, I have, very successful ventures, I also have little ventures that did not do as well before, but every of this taught me very valuable lessons, right? So if you look at this, yeah, so Yising was saying that, you see, especially like, aviation, which I completely agree, right? So, in the current aviation, currently what is tourism right now? There's literally zero. Their airlines is booking zero revenue right now every other month, but they are having big expenses. So this is the time where I want you to use the art of Qi Men Dun Jia to leverage, right, using the current time space to get the outcome that you want. So sales was specifically one of the core things that I actually identify here. When I talk about sales, this is very, very important, because that is to me, this is the core of everything, right? If you technically, you have 10x, more than whatever you have, I'm very happy for you, because you have more than enough to provide for people around you, for your family, for your friends, and you can do so much more. But if you're only at barely at the, mediocre level, you are not able to hit it, then you'll be suffering so much, right? So of course, there is a small amount of people who actually use Qi Men strategy to do this, right? They actually tries to seek medical advice, right? Which means to say that, okay, what do you mean by seeking medical advice? Qi Men strategy has a very important aspect, which is the health condition. Do you know that Qi Men can actually help you, right, to be able to help you to technically, first and foremost, identify and diagnose what is a hidden illness or condition. So there are certain times that maybe doctors cannot get your condition up to date, right? I mean, they do all the scans and everything, but they are 100% not sure that, what is your actual and exact conditions. Qi Men Dun Jia can actually do that, right? So how it actually happen is we are charging the date and time, right, based on the hours is selected, and then you use that hour to go and visit that doctor, right? So this is one we go about doing it. Now, of course, some of you is asking, how about can it be used to help jobless? I would say, why not, right? So that's the first thing first. Now, if you are jobless right now, your first priority, right, is to get a job, okay? Because I always say it's the fastest way to a paycheck. That means you get paid at the end of the month, right? Is to get a job first, because you need at least some bread and butter to be paying some of the bills every day, okay? So all of your priorities right now using Qi Men, you can actually use it to get a job. So if you are, technically want to use this to get a job, please make sure you stay tuned with me to the end, because later on, I'll actually give you the date and time, right? It's forwarded in the PDF guide. I've prepared that for you to download, and then there'll be the date and time and the instructions, what you do, right? So you can use that to try to send your resume. You can use that to, send a help to, example, if you want a colleague to help you to get into certain jobs. Like sometimes you already know this corporation before, you just need to tap a little bit of their help, you can, right? So it's all about money generation techniques. So if you want to use it for sales, to close the deals and everything, you can do it. But technically, let's say you're jobless right now, then the first thing is just get a job. Now, what most of you may not be jobless, okay? If you're not jobless right now, then technically what happened is you want to be looking at more different things you want to be doing right now. Because right after this, episode, you will see that a lot of industry, the next thing that will be coming is, of course, a lot of countries trying to contain this COVID-19 right now. That's not 100% per se. US is having a tough time, right? The spike has been increasing, 10,000, 20,000 by the day, right? It's getting worse and worse. And some countries getting second wave or infection, which I really did mention before, that even we get a small, containment of the viruses, that is a second wave that most likely will come, because we're currently in the middle of a water energy. So 2019 was water energy. 2020 is also water energy. It goes into 2021, right? So right to about July period, that's when the water energy will start to diminish over time, right? So until then, right now, the key question is, what else can we do, right? You want to be looking at key perspective that, we probably wants to identify some of the things that a lot of good stories that I've heard here is very good. Some of them, they has been doing little. In fact, I see a personal friend, she was doing face masks. Okay, so she obtained a skills to tries to figure out how to sew out a face mask herself in different sort of design. And guess what? Right, so short amount of time, actually, I think she got interviewed and what's not. And then technically, what happened is, she got a lot of inquiries asking to buy her face mask. Of course, that could be a trend, in terms of the purchase of demand and supply. But still, you see, the ability to be able to think out of the box, right, is important, because right now you don't want just to sustain yourself with a job, right? So this is something that you want to be technically, understanding how you're going to use this. Of course, we can also be using it in terms of legal battle. So if you look at legal battle right here, right? So legal battle is more of like you're involved in a court case. You want somewhat that the court somewhat will pass a judgment, a verdict in your favor, right? So this is what happened. Before you get into the court case, you want to plot the Qi Men Dun Jia chart, looking at the prosperous date and time, all right, or the sector and direction. You realize that in every Qi Men chart, there's always 8 different directions. You got north, south, east, west, and this is like a 9 grid box I'm putting out here. You will also realize that the center box, there's usually nothing, right? So it's just some of the energy that's right in the center. But technically, what we'll be looking at is always at the 8 different directions, right? And of course, a lot of time we're also using it for negotiation. So negotiation is a powerful skill set. You are using this to close somebody. So negotiation and closing. Some people use it to escape. Now, escaping, not so much, right? I don't see there's a lot of time you'll be using it for escaping. But yes, example, if you are in, you're staying in areas that is not maybe very safe, then one of the key things that you want to be doing is technically, you can very quickly look at the Qi Men Dun Jia chart, right? So look at Qi Men Dun Jia chart and look at what is the direction to just walk. Now, have it ever occurred to you that, this situation happened before? You were actually looking for something, right? And you're trying so hard to find it. You were searching in the table, the desk, or the bed, or anywhere. And all of a sudden, once you move out of the spot, suddenly you spot that thing is just right in front of you, but you couldn't find in that span of time. Have you got this sort of situation happening to you? So if you let me know, these are some of the metaphysics moment, right? So if you have, just let me know, yes. Right, you're finding for this thing, and then, why suddenly it's just right here, but how come I did see it? Qi Men Dun Jia has one direction. Technically, we actually use the direction for escaping, right? So technically, if you head on to the direction where you are allowed to escape, technically your enemy just cannot spot you. So this is a very, to me, when I first learned Qi Men Dun Jia many years ago, I couldn't understand that there is such thing out there. There's a direction that you can escape. I mean, come on, how can you be using that sort of direction? But actually, it does, right? So it's just like you are seeking that one thing, but you just cannot find it. It's like a blind spot in one of the 8 directions, right? So that is how we are using it in Qi Men strategy. So Qi Men strategy technically is very simple. It's just understanding every hour there is going to be different directions for different purpose, right? So if you look at some of the purpose I've listed out, some for sales, some for medical, some for legal. So it's for different purpose depending on what you want to achieve. So that's what we are doing here. Now, does it mean that every hour definitely there will be good Qi Men chart? Not true, right? So there will be some hour where the energy is really, really very negative. Then what you have to do is you probably have to settle for the next hour, or you abandon this task right now. You do it in a much better date and time later on. That's something you can be doing this, right? So, and of course, if you want to be looking at what other, let me just talk about the usage. Yeah? So I need to discuss on this part because this is important. Technically, later on, I'll actually give you the date and time for sales activation, wealth activation, closing. Some of you wants to be using that to find a job, submit a resume, you can do it, right? So this is what you're doing here. Technically, I'll present you with an instruction, right? So you want to be sitting at a certain direction. Now, in Qi Men Dun Jia, we always want to tap on the back of our head. That's our pointing direction, right? So if you look at the back of your head, some of you, again, I did mention this before. If you have followed me, you probably will know. Some of you will have this at the back of your head that is a little bump, All right, I have this. It's a pretty big bump. I mean, I was born with it. It's not like you felt and then you got this bump, right? So if you touch the back of your head, that's somewhere around, this is your ear. This is the ear region. So just at this angle here, right in the center, some of you have this bump. Now, this is in terms of, if you want to look at the perspective of 八字, you can be looking at indirect resource, right? That's one of star quality. Now, some of you is looking at face reading, then this bump here is telling you that you are kind of born with the intrinsic capabilities of metaphysics, which is to say that you understand astrology, you understand energy, you understand the deja vu moment, all of these things, very, voodoo kind of things, you understand it very easily, right? So this is technically, it means that you are able to use that, right? So in terms of Qi Men strategy, you want to be making sure that the back of the head is facing the direction that I mentioned. Now, in this case here, so example, if the South Palace is good, right? So the South Palace, if it's good here, what you have to do here is you have to position yourself, right, such that you are facing the south, right? The back of your head is facing south. So just like you look at the compass here, the back of your head, you're facing south, right? You want to be getting in that zone. So what do, right? So first and foremost, it's there is a method that we talk about connecting with the higher energy, the higher spirit, the higher dimension. Some of you can reach that through normal meditation, right? So some of you have that, right? So wow, I get a lot of all the answers is coming in. I have that bump that you have mentioned. Congratulations, right? This is Egi Tan, right? So if you have that, congratulations. I mean, learning metaphysics could be just a cup of water, a cup of tea to you. It could be a very easy thing to you because that bump here is already a pre-intrinsic capabilities that you are born with, right? So Tan Yi Sing has a very big one, so this is cool. So that's why you understand this sort of things very easy. Now some people they don't, and then if you tell them there's things that's called metaphysics energy, or you tell them spirit ghosts, they'll tell you that no, I don't subscribe to any of this. There's no such thing in this world. There's really no right or wrong. It's just, to me, it's just that there is one part we call this the third eye as well, right? It's just that the third eye has not been enhanced, has not opened yet, right? So they can't really foresee a lot of things. That's perfectly fine. Not everyone, is already open up at different stage of time, right? So that's one thing to be looking at. So, and of course, if you look at, Qi Men strategy itself, I want you to get into that zone before, you use the date and time, which I'm about to give you, right? So if you don't know where I'm actually looking at, it's very simple. Once you get the date and time, so the date and time I'll be giving you is around 1.5 hours. It's enough time for you to be getting what you have been doing, right? So first and foremost, I need you to get into the zone first, right? So to get into the zone, some people it's like to connect, it's like to make a connection to a greater dimension. What you have to do is you have to, right, first set an intention first, right? So there's a two-step method, right? The first step is to set an intention. So the intention is, first you have to relax yourself, right? Second is you have to, when I say set intention, it's just like you're telling yourself, help me now connect to the higher energy that's up above, all right? Or you can say anything like, help me connect to the greater energy of the universe. Help me connect to the divine energy of the universe, any way you want to put it. But ultimately, your body, your subconscious self will know what it's referring to, okay? That's what you want to do. First, you position yourself in that position first. So example, at south, at a certain date and time. So you check within the 2 hours, position yourself in that sector first. Second, once you're done it, set an intention. So when you set an intention, you have to tell yourself, help me to connect to the greater energy of the universe, or to higher dimension, or to my guardian angel, guardian spirit, whatever way you call it, that's fine, because your subconscious mind know what you're referring to. You don't have to specifically tell them, right? So just like, if you look at tree is, a tree, in English it's called a tree, in Chinese it's called su, right? In different language, there's different naming for a tree. But technically, you don't need to tell your subconscious mind, your subconscious know which part of it is a tree, right? So this is exactly what I'm talking about, right? So when you have this, once you are connected, so some of you saying that, yeah, sometimes if you do that, you got goosebumps. Yes, this is a very good sign, right? So this is coming from Pang. So Pang is saying that you may get goosebumps. Yes, this is one of the experience you can feel it. Some people, you're more sensitive, you get goosebumps. It's not goosebumps because you're sensing ghosts and whatever. That's nonsense, right? Goosebumps is because right now your ability to sense outside your body is now able to already forge this connection. It's like it's connected. It's like you're connected to the greater energy of the universe. You're able now to download all this information right now. You're able to call on their energy and then to be able to, land the support from them and the strengths to give you all the help that you need. So this is what we are talking about here, right? So see, a lot of you kind of know the method. I teach you the last time, but I thought I'd teach you again, right? So Elson is like, when the timing and the direction is correct, I felt calm, relaxed, and clear-minded. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So you'll feel a lot of this sort of experience once you're connected, okay? So get into the position, all right? So how long to be in that connected moment? It can be anything within 5 minutes, all right? If you want it to be fast, 2 to 3 minutes. It depends on how fast you get connected. Once you get connected, you realize that it's a different state of mind, right? You kind of felt like, hey, it seems to be, there's less voices, right? It's more calm, right? Suddenly your inner world felt like whatever is a big problem don't seems to be a problem right now. See, that's the power when you're connected to the universal wisdom, I call this. Because wisdom is everything. When you got wisdom, there's no fear. Everything, you can see a solution. This is exactly what I'm talking about, right? So that's that. And a lot of you, once you're able to get connected, Pamela is saying that she felt relaxed. Yes, this is what some of the strategies. So when you're in that, so the third step, this is what you do. So once you already gotten the experience I was talking about, whether you're very calm, you're very connected, or you sense that there help from within. Some of you sense goosebump. Different people has different experience, but technically this is what we're talking about. Third step is you want to be doing that outcome. Right, so if your outcome right now is talking technically about maybe, right, you want to be getting that interview. So this is what you want to do, right? First, remember the part on intention setting. So the first intention setting is to set an intention to be connected. The second intention setting is to focus on what you want to achieve. Now remember this, I always say that the most effective way of doing this is to focus on that one thing you want, right? So you're not going to focus like, oh, my wish is to have 99 wish. So, and then you wish 99 times, right? That's when you're all over the place, right? Because if you really are very, very focused, then ultimately to get to the path, it's so easy. It's just a one-way road, right? But if you tell your body that there's 99 road and path I want to be going right now, then where are you heading, right? So this is what I'm trying to tell you. You need to be very focused in doing this. Now, in the past episodes, one of the users was saying that, he was trying this and then it didn't work, right? And then he was saying that he was trying this on behalf of the wife. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. If your wife wants to be going for the interview, then your wife has to do this method, right? You can't be like, example, I get into this zone. I want to wish that my enemy is going to suffer more badly than me, right? This is not a type of wish that it can be achieved because technically you're wishing things that's outside of your boundary. Right? Anything that you're wishing right now must be within your boundary, within things that you can achieve, right? It's not like, I want to wish that my wife is going to be getting that job in 2 months' time. This is not the way to do it, right? So if your wife want to be activating this, get your wife to do this process herself at the date and time I've specified, right? So I think that's easy. Third step is to set an intention, right? And of course, once you set the intention, then go and do the task. If you already meet someone, so example, there are some people, you do this, example, later on you have a meeting with somebody, right? So this is what you can do. So when you have a meeting with somebody and you realize that you're still within the 2 hours that I talk about, okay, you can actually position yourself in the South Palace, right? That means the back, that means you're already at a meeting place, okay? And then what you want to do, you want to leverage in a little bit more in terms of the techniques I'm talking about, right? So once you are getting connected to that phase, second part is this is additional layer of energy you can tap from. You want to be tapping into sitting. That means your back have to be facing that direction that I mentioned. So of course, if you have a table like this, that would be ideal. Then ideally you will want, technically your guest to be sitting at the north section, right? So the north is something that he has to be sitting because technically in Qi Men is very easy. Yeah. If one door is very powerful, usually the other door is technically going to be negative, right? So this is it's almost like fighting a war, right? So if you look at Warcraft and everything, it's usually talking about energy in attacking and defending. So if one is attacked, then the other one is defending. So this is additional strategy you can use in terms of Qi Men strategy. That means you've already done this, and then you still want to use this to meet out a friend, maybe to close him on, I don't know, maybe you sell insurance, right? So you want to talk to him about this insurance deal, and this is what you can do. So now, of course, you get questions like this is coming from Bob, right? So Bob is saying that, okay, what if two persons is using Qi Men at the same time? Sure, right? You can have two persons using Qi Men at the same time, but I'm pretty sure that two person is using the two different intention, right? Unless you're saying that these two persons is studying the same intention in the same place in the right time doing the same thing. This is pretty much not going to be the case. Now, of course, if you say that two persons is going to be right time doing the same thing, and then you can actually be looking at, of course, your parts of destiny chart. That's one more layer of luck factor that can influence as well, right? So remember, your destiny chart has a level of influence. But technically, if you have two person, then you can't be sitting both south at the same time, right? So unless that guy is also a Qi Men user, then this is what you can do. Then you can forge your intention, and he can forge his intention. Then at the end of the day, then we will see that whose parts of luck is going to be slightly better. You get a high outcome. Now, if generally you're just talking about normal luck circumstances, then the one that actually use Qi Men strategy will actually stand out. Right now, Qi Men is not 100%, it's going to get, technically, wow, I wish for lottery luck, then I will get lottery luck. It's not that sense, but it increased the chance of getting it. High level of chance, right? So I always say this, from 1 to 40%, even if someone will give you that 1% additional leverage, my question to you, will you take it? If for me, I'll say that I will take whatever percent you're going to offer to me for free, right? So if technically I'm going to be using this, I had 2% more success rate, I will do it, right? So this is the core power of Qi Men strategy, right? So, and of course, I hope that this part, right, you understand that it's going to be pretty easy, right? So Qi Men strategy, again, we are talking about a few things. So that's first is to get the date and time and the sector, right? So date and time and sector, and of course, every time I research a date and time for you, I will already tell you that what is this used for. This next time that the next timing actually be provided in the guide, it's going to be for sales, closing, negotiation, finding a job, interviews. So it's all about money and wealth creation, right? So of course, some of you say that, how about I want to be, finding myself and everything? You can, right? So that's when, if you want, you can of course get on board to our Qi Men strategy. That is our class, which I will talk about it later. Right now, I just thought that I would train you on some basic level of understanding, so you know where I'm actually coming from. Now, of course, next other things, right? So now, if you just came into our session, you don't know how we usually interact and get all of the help, so on and so forth. Please do join our private Telegram group, right? So what I can be doing here is just go into kevinf.co/telegram. Yeah. So this is one of the key URL technically that if you get in, you are in our Telegram private group, because this is where time to time I will share my research and finding. So sometimes very powerful date and time. Sometimes there are things that I want to share, like the last post I actually share about the eclipse, right? So some of you, if you know eclipse, then it's good for you. Some of you, if you don't know what eclipse is all about, could be new to eclipses, then this is where I actually share, when is this going to happen? How is this going to affect you? But at the end of the day, the private group is always going to serve you with a lot more information. So if you're not in, you're missing out on a lot of things. So please make sure that you actually bookmark, take a screenshot of this URL right now, kevinf.co/telegram. It'll bring you to the Telegram group, right? So once you're in, just join the group. Time to time, I will give you a lot of updates. So that's for you guys in case you are not missing out any things. And of course, let me just move on. Now, before I move on, let me just pick one lucky winner, right? So that I have next lucky winner towards the end of the session, right? So, okay, let me just pick one lucky winner. Now, if you have not been able to participate in the lucky draw right now, this is what you can do. First and foremost, you have to like, you have to share, right? So when you like and share, you obtain the status sharer, right? So you have to share the post to public, right? So if there is no sharer, for example, Bob, there is no status. So in case I pick you as a winner, you will not be able to walk away with the prize. So the key criteria is you have to be a sharer, right? So, or you are a top fan, like Helen Chun is a top fan, right? So she does this every single time when she comes into our live. Very grateful for the support. And of course, what you're doing here is also going to help a lot more people out there. Because remember, I keep mentioning that a lot of all my live training that I put up time here, if you follow that, my parts training, I have actually accumulated about 14 episodes, right? So in parts training, 14 different episodes is all free training, right? So it will help that little one, some guy out there, that is searching for answers. So if you have not, please like and share before I do the lucky draw selection. So technically, this is what I'll be doing here, right? So I'll be scrolling through 3 swipes to refresh, right? And then I'll be able to find who is the person that actually has gotten this, all right? So I actually got Lee XR, right? So I actually gotten this guy. It's called Lee XR. So if you look at it, so Lee XR, there's a sharer, right? So I see there's a sharer. So Lee XR, congratulations. You actually you will be given access to our 八字 Jumpstart program, valued at $497. I hope that the training will help you to open out your 八字 destiny training, and then you'll be able to get clarity in terms of what you're moving on. I'm going to assure you that the value you're getting is confirmed going to be more than this amount, because one good decision is going to change a lot of things in life. At that, I'm very confident, because I've done this for 10 and 10 of thousands of students worldwide, right? So the team, right? So my team do help me to record down this person, right? So in case later on, please message us directly, right? So you have already gotten the share status. So we will actually, my team will actually talk to you, and then we'll send you the access. This is from Lee XR, right? So this is what happens, right? It's easy, right? So this is what I'm trying to tell you. Like and share, and then when I scroll this, the first name that appears out, you are a sharer, you walk away with the lucky draw, right? So I hope that will give you more insights in your life. I don't believe in giving money, because money is you're passing fish to somebody. I always believe in giving knowledge and wisdom, because to me, I benefited from all the different knowledge I've studied in this area. From 7-digit, 8-digit business I built over the years, it's all through metaphysics. Without metaphysics, it's not going to be possible, right? So I mentioned everything in terms of feng shui, qi men, and 八字. Once you know everything, you know when to do what, right? So that's that. Okay, of course, second part, I'll talk a bit about Qi Men Divination, right? So the part on Qi Men Divination is this. Using divination, it is almost like as if you are technically, wants to get questions or get your answers on different scenarios. So example this, when can we use a Qi Men Divination? So it's very simple. So for example, you got a question right now. Should I change to this job or not? All right, just a very simple question. Should I change to this job? Of course, in Qi Men Divination, you want to be as specific as possible. If you're talking about this job, then which job? So you want to mention that. And then what we do is we will plot the current hour chart. All right, in Qi Men Dun Jia, you plot the current hour chart. So in Qi Men Dun Jia, you will use it to forecast every different things. Because why? We have so many. Do you know that how many times we actually talk to ourselves in our mind a day? All right, do you know that? More than 1,000 times. Okay, more than 1,000 times that we actually spoke to ourselves. What is this sign talking about? What is that person going to tell me? How is this job offer is going to be like? Is this partner going to be good for me? Do you know that we actually speak to ourselves so many times a day, right? So some of you will have a lot of key questions like that, right? So that's the power of Qi Men Divination. Qi Men Divination it allows you to get clarity. So even myself, sometimes, I need to get certain, quick answers. I'll just look at the Qi Men chart. So I plot out Qi Men chart, I'll immediately get my answers. So example, there are people who wants to do investment right with us, and after that, getting us to put investment with them, and then I plot the Qi Men chart, right? It was a $5 million investment. I look at it, and I look at it at no, this investment is not going to make me money in the short term, right? In the long term, you can make some money, right? So it depends on what you're going for. So that's the powerful part of Qi Men Divination. So in Qi Men Divination, we use it to forecast different situation, right? So you look at situation per se, right? So that's one of the key things. Every one of us got different situation. This is funny. I have people who actually, and this is some of our China customers. They came in and then they asked a question whereby, I want to know whether, now in China there's this term, it's called 小三. If you're not familiar with this term, it means a mistress. Okay, so the lady was actually asking if the husband actually have a mistress that's going on right now. So what happened? Then we have to plot based on the Qi Men Divination chart, and then to answer the questions tactfully, right? Tactfully, not saying that we're going to shield anything from her, but you must understand this: our work here is not to break up people's marriage. Our work here is to get clarity, right? Provide clarity for the client. So and then we have to figure out how do we actually, so one of the key solutions was actually I told her to remove something inside a house. Okay, and true enough, 2 months later, I think the husband after that came clean and then said that everything is already all over and stuff like that. So how did that happen? It's Qi Men Divination, right? And of course, the part on I teach them to remove certain things is due to Qi Men Feng Shui. It's a subset of Qi Men Divination. But technically, Qi Men Feng Shui itself is a system where we can use to remove certain things that can influence peach blossom. Now, peach blossom, if you're not sure with this term, it means that you're going to increase your popularity and your likability, right? So if you are already attached, then you don't want to activate these stars, Okay, so if you're technically already done that, then you probably don't want to do this. Yeah, so that's one thing to be looking at. Now, of course, some people use it to find missing item. So Qi Men is very interesting, right? You can, if you lost certain things, you can actually look at the Qi Men chart. It will tell you which direction is this thing most likely going to be found, right? So, and then you can also look at you realize that in our Qi Men chart, there's also things like it's called external and internal palaces, right? So the one that's being circled, these are all the external palaces, right? So external and internal is talking about timeline. How long are you going to find this thing? Are you going to find it in 3 months, 2 months, or are you going to find it within 1 week, right? So a lot of this are able to help us to, get our decisions very quickly, right? So that's one thing. And health issues. So most of the time, example, you're not feeling really, really well right now. You can open out a Qi Men chart and find what's wrong, okay? And the interesting part about this is this: besides finding out what's wrong with your health itself, you can also find out which direction should you seek help. So Qi Men has a direction whereby, example, so if you want to be seeking Chinese traditional medicine, that means TCM, right? Then you probably have to head south, right? That means from your house that you're staying, all the way up south, right? So of course, by this south, this is Qi Men chart. South is always on top, but in Google Map, your south is below, yeah. So you don't contradict yourself. So technically, if you look at south, then the first clinic that actually is being found, guess what? This is the clinic that's being able to help with the health condition. It's a very amazing thing, right? So Qi Men has this application in it to seek and diagnose sickness, and of course to get solution. But of course, most people is always asking about career option. I think this is very common. So I thought later on I'll share a little bit of my case studies, right? So and investment forecast, should you do this investment or not, right? Or this investment, does it give you the profits in the short amount of time, or is there going to be huge losses, right? Or simply you just want to buy property, right? So some people just want to be buying a property. So one of the key mechanics that we actually be using is this. So this is some of the key things that we actually look at, right? So this is very basic Qi Men divination. Now, if you're new to this, just try to understand what am I trying to teach you right here. But at the end of it, I actually have a PDF file, right, for you guys to read on a little bit more, okay? So technically, so Eddie was asking, is it true that facing southwest direction allows us to reboot? Technically, it depends on what you're looking at, right? So some people, they like to look at the annual Qi Men chart. So annual Qi Men chart itself to me is not as powerful because it's just telling you in this year you want to be tackling in this. This is like a very general direction. If you really want to be, if you are talking about reboot in terms of recalibrate your mind and your focus, I would say that you want to be using the hourly Qi Men strategy chart. Okay, you don't want to be using the year Qi Men chart because the year Qi Men is just telling in general this is the direction. If you want, you can tap onto it. So it's somewhat like telling you that, people is born in the year of the horse this year is not a good year. But does it mean everyone is born in the year of the horse is not a good year? Right? So that's very in general. So I prefer to use things that is very specific. So if you want to be using it for healing, getting clarity, Qi Men strategy, you can learn to use the hourly chart. It will generate. So the next hourly chart that has very good formation, that's when you use it. You see that the power is like 100 folds, right? More powerful than if you're using a very general guideline, right? So I usually don't like to give too general guidelines because that's usually more of like a teaser for you to test it and then get a 1% result and then you do it yourself, yeah? Okay, I hope I answered a question for Eddie. Now, of course, few things here. You see, when you look at a Qi Men Dun Jia chart, right? The day, right? So let me just put this part out, yeah? So if you're looking at a day, this is often the asker, okay? It's often the asker. So example, if you are the one asking a question right now, then I will look at the day, okay? So the day itself would tell me, technically, should I be doing this or not? So how we are doing this is very straightforward. In Qi Men, it's not complex. But of course, at the much advanced level, there's more things for you to be learning, but you will realize it's not complex. Let me show you why, right? So first and foremost, if you look at day, now technically day itself is a Kui water here. Now, if you don't know where is Kui water, right, I actually highlighted it. This is actually found in southwest. Okay, so this is technically the asker. Now, then you will look at, if you ask anything, you'll be looking at maybe you look at the outcome, right? So of course, the outcome, we are looking at the hour. Okay, so the hour is always talking about the results, the outcome. So the outcome, if you're looking at hour, is pink fire. If you look at it, pink fire is right in the center. But then where do I read? Because in the center, there's no information. That's when our plotter actually got it all figured out for you. So if you look at it, there is a very small ping fire right here. Okay, so our Qi Men plotter actually do all the calculation and algorithm for you. At advanced level, you realize the profiler can even do just to find the best date and time. It's one click away. You want it for sales, just click it. Right, the professional edition of this, with just one click away, it will show you all the date and time with all the special formation. Right, so that's for Qi Men strategy. So technically, if you look at the hour, it's actually in the South Palace. So what we are doing here is this: you're just comparing between your Southwest Palace and your South Palace. Okay, if you're asking between, your question, right? So this is a quick example of how we actually do a Qi Men Dun Jia divination. The divination part is you're just looking at where the heavenly stamp is. This is just one reference point. Of course, there's many more reference points you can be looking at, depending on different things. Some people like to look at, so right now I enter this company. So who is the toughest person to manage in this company? You can use a Qi Men Dun Jia chart. You can plot it out. You show whether it's the CEO having a problem, CFO having a problem, your finance department, which one is having a problem? Because every parts of Qi Men Dun Jia can be dissected out to suit a situation. Right? So you want to measure a company where it's having a problem, look at Qi Men chart, it tells you exactly what is having a problem, right? So it tells you that CEO is doing very well, but CFO is having some financial problems, managing the financial, you will see it very clearly inside the chart, right? And of course, if you are talking about, remote question, now this is part a lot of people, they don't understand. It's so there are sometimes you ask question based on someone just send you a WhatsApp, okay? So someone, maybe you study Qi Men divination, someone send you a WhatsApp and then they ask a question. Now, of course, if someone asks a question, so what happened here is technically that someone should be, under this man instead. Okay. So if someone send you a question, then you will not be looking at the asker, because asker is actually yourself. You're the one plotting the chart. So if someone want to ask me a question remotely, I can be looking at the man instead, right? So the man is Keng matter. If you look at this chart here, Keng matter is right here. Then I'm comparing Keng matter between ping fire, right, in terms of the outcome, right? So you're just looking at the comparison right here. And of course, other things that you study is, there are stars. There's 9 stars. There's 8 deities. Okay. There's of course the heaven stamps and of course the earth stamp and the dog, right? So Qi Men Dun Jia, you realize it's very fixated. It's only 4 or 5 information depending what you're looking at. And of course, if you want to go higher level, you can, because every of these stars, that is strength, right? So strength means how powerful this star right now. How powerful is this door right now? Because it's going to affect your reading, right? So you say that this is a good opportunity, but this star right now currently has no strength. Then the opportunity I'm talking about is diminished, right? So this is very easy, analogy that I'm putting out here. That is, if you're using at a month. Now, if somebody wants to be talking about example, right? They want to be talking about, maybe their father. But you realize that, but this person is asking about his father, then how do I do it, right? So if the person is asking remotely, and then it's asking about his father, you can plot the person's chart. And then, of course, you can also look at the year itself. Is also one level. Of course, if the person is asking about elderly or a supervisor or someone that's beyond, on top of him, then we can also be looking at that. Now, of course, you got some question is saying that why do we not have Jia Wood? Okay, Qi Men Dun Jia is very interesting, yeah? So in Qi Men, it's all about the emperor and you, right? So, I mean, the enemy and the emperor, right? So if you look at it itself, we always want to protect the emperor. So when you use Qi Men Dun Jia, you want to be protected. So that's why you see that in Qi Men Dun Jia, the Jia will never appear. But having said that, even our plotter, you realize that we actually also plot the Jia out. So you look at it, this one, right? Look at here, right? So the Jia is actually found in the Southwest Palace. We also reviewed where the Jia is actually being reviewed. Although traditionally, the chart itself will not show you where Jia is, but Jia will still be assigned to one palace. Okay, so our Qi Men plotter already got this taken care of. You don't have to worry. No, don't memorize where the Jia is right now. I have to look at the 6 camps. There's a lot of things. These days you have technology. So with technology, a lot of things become so much fast forward, right? It makes things easy because ultimately we are interested is the application. We're not here to memorize all the formulas, right? So formulas, let the calculator, the profiler do it for you, let the software do it for you. Just focus on application. I'm always been the application person because I want you guys to get the outcome that you want. That's ultimately what we are doing here, right? So this part on Men Divination, I guess you'll find it's pretty easy, right? This is just some of the basic things that we look at. So it's always looking at reference point, right? So that's one thing we are looking at. What reference point are you looking at? So if you're looking at, example, mistress, then how do we look at reference point of a mistress? And is a mistress found, where is the mistress found? Is it found inside the house or is it outside a country or where is it, right? So Because I'm not going to go too much into mistress of this. I'm not here to tell you there's always third party, but yes, there are some signs. I'll share with you a couple of my case studies, quick one right here, right? So at least you know, get a sense of what's moving on. So these are some quick case studies. So this one, it came to came to us a while ago, looking to invest 2 million in startups. So it's a fintech company, right? So the client actually came to us and says that wants to know whether, right, how do you actually should I actually invest 2 million in this startup, because there is a lot of, whatever is being presented is good. So looking at this itself, right? So if you look at the Qi Men chart itself, there's a lot of things that we are looking at here. But one of the key issues is if you want to be looking at money, right? If you want to be looking at money, it's very easy reference point, right? The money reference point is just worth. Worth is talking about capital. Do you have capital at this point in time? I mean, once you get into it, is there capital for you? Is there growth of capital? Now, of course, if you look at this, worth right here, although it's mentioning about money here, there's a few negative things that we don't want to be seeing. So first and foremost, there is this thing is called death and emptiness, Kong Wang. So you get an icon that says Kong, right? So you get death and emptiness. Immediately, just using Qi Men Divination, I would just tell him, this investment, 2 million down into the business, for what I see from Qi Men chart, you're not going to get profits, right? So, and this is, in fact, you will realize it's going to happen very fast. How do I know it's very fast? Because if you look at it, there's also a horse icon, right? So horse icon can be interpreted for different events, but right here it's going to tell you that for you to know that this is not going to work your way and not seeing profit, you can see it very fast. It means maybe after you put in the money, right, 4 to 6 months, you start to see that, I'm actually losing a lot of money right now, okay? So this is one of the key parts where we look at in terms of money. There's no money because there's a few negative indicators. And if you look at this, there's also the doors, right? The doors is also talking about delusion. Delusion is, of course, talking about blockages, talking about things that stop, comes to a standstill. And then if you look at a lot of other status that is going on right now, this is not a good read. So at the end of the day, we told him no. And turn out, guess what? I think he sends an email around 8 months later that he says that thank God that he did not proceed with the investment, because that was a fintech actually doing some, Bitcoin kind of things. So it's some e-currencies. So at the end of it, the project didn't turn out the way that he wanted. And then, in fact, it was no longer around. So imagine what would happen if he invested 2 million, right? So sometimes we always say, hey, you know what? Why should I want to be learning this? I always say this, the more wisdom you have, right, ultimately give you more options, more optics, and more ways to make decisions. The less things that you are looking at, you have to make decisions based on very little foresight. Now, with little to no foresight, it's almost as good as being ignorant. You agree? Right? So if you look at it, being ignorant, imagine you are the one now you're going to sink 2 million inside this company because you felt that everything presented is so good and what's up. But there are a lot of hidden mechanisms you're not able to see it. Qi Men will not tell any lies. That's the powerful part of Qi Men. You can just plot the date and time, look at it, everything is presented right in front of you. So that's when you look at it, then you realize that, hey, so what is the cost of knowledge? Probably just a few hundred to a few $1,000s. But imagine you invested 2 million, right? So that also says that ignorant actually will cost you more. Think about it, isn't it? Right? So a lot of time I always say wisdom and knowledge are powerful. If you know how to use it, it's going to be in your ways to manipulate the outcome that you want. That's one of the key factors. Okay, so next case studies, I talk about it a little bit more, right? So let me just show you, right? So it's this, this is changing to a new job offer. So this client came in and, asked a question that he actually got offered a new job offer. Should he actually do it? So you see, in terms of job offer, very quickly, we will just zoom into some of the, the key factors is actually this one, right? So if we look at technically career options, right, where we actually look at the open door itself, we get a lot of the positive indicators. All of this is talking about, there's money to be made, right? And, there's good partnership inside, there's good support coming from the job environment. And of course, looking at it back then, as we were talking about this, okay, this is where he was actually in, right? That means technically where the person that asked, when I actually put out the forecasting, it was actually in this palace. If you look at this itself, right, it's producing, right? So it's like, the northeast is producing northwest, right? You look at this producing. So you look at this part here, all the direction is pointing that this is a very good job offer. If you're going to miss this, right, you probably got to wait for 9 months before you get, another better job offer that comes next. So having said that, I immediately told him, this come at this time. It's a great job offer, so please accept it immediately. So again, fast forward 3 months, email came, right? So he was very happy with the new work environment, saying that he got very good supportive partner, and then they are actually looking for him to be doing more things. So, and training is available. How do we know training is available? Is because we look at the stars here, that is always producing this palace. So anything that's producing you is someone is going to lend support to you, right? So exactly, you see, looking at a new job offer, sometimes not all the job offer you're getting is going to be in your favor. What if you landed in a job that is far more worse than this current one? It may look good, right? Nice office, seems to be a good environment, expensive place, but you never know what's the culture. So one of the fastest way, like I mentioned, is to just go with your technically your achievement itself, right? So they will start to give you this. Okay, so one more case studies, right? Chinese Indo client seeking health treatment. So this one is powerful because when we look at health treatment, right, we are looking at a few potential stars and indicator. So one of the key things that we actually look at is this stars here, because the door, right? So the door is a rest door, and we also my very specific recommendation to her is because she was asking that should she actually goes to an alternative treatment, because she was actually cancer stage, I think 2, right? So back in the times that actually the email reached us, so asking whether should she seek alternative treatment. There's no right or wrong, or should she stick back to the Western treatment, right? But in most cases, I may recommend the alternative treatment or the TCM. But based on what Qi Men is telling me, again, very quickly, I'll just tell her, no, this is Western treatment that you're looking for, and then you're able to get this treatment pretty fast because it's present in the Southwest Palace. You get a lot of the good heavily stem that is in, right? And the doctors is willing to work very well with you. They're able to cooperate with you. And then you got a couple of good, very good, structures and formation that's right here. So very quickly, this is what I told her. I need you, by a specific time. So in fact, I told her technically at about 1 to 4 p.m., right? So during that time, from her house, right, travel to the Southwest area. So let's say if this is your house right here, then you need to be looking at South and West. So travel out to the nearest, doctors or hospitals that you can find and look for treatment there. Okay, this is one of the key examples that we're looking at, and true enough, this comes about 1.5 years later, right? After all the treatments, she managed to get it under control. So again, if you look at it, this is one of the key applications we use it for health. But sometimes you will never know, is traditional medicine better or is it Western medicine? Okay, we can look at certain different indicators that's found inside a Qi Men Dun Jia chart, right? So every of the stars is talking about different things. If you think interpretation is hard, actually it's not hard. You just need guidance, right? If you want to be looking for health, this is the key guidance that you're looking at. You're looking for money, then you're looking at these stars. So once all the guides is being laid out for you, just follow step by steps. If you look at the way I'm doing it, how fast and how hard is it to do this divination? Probably, 10 minutes. If you want to be, of course, you want to look in depth, study even more things, it's going to take longer time, but very quick answers. You want to be getting, just look at a chart, you can get very quick answers. So, and of course, if you be looking at last one, job offer coming from Europe. So the job offer is coming from Europe. Of course, this is, if I didn't remember, this was actually 2 months ago, right? So if I look at 2 months ago, I don't think, right, based on, of course, whatever I'm looking at, it may not be the best thing, right? Because 2 months ago, if you look at Europe, you look at the COVID-19 situation, I think everyone will tell you that probably it's not a good time to be traveling to certain parts of Europe, right? It's not all parts of Europe. I believe some parts are still pretty safe, but some of the parts of different parts of Europe can be, getting a harder grip with the COVID-19 situation. So what happened is this, I decided to just look into the Qi Men chart. So again, career questions, you look at the open door, right? So this is one of the key ways to be looking at career questions. And of course, looking at the open door itself, currently she is in this sector, right? So she's actually in this sector. Okay, so looking at it, she don't feel too good with her current environment, because there's we can also tell she's not feeling too good, right? Because you get to see this is all the negative indicator, the death and emptiness, right? The tiger, energy is very strong, very superior is pressing down their weights on you. You have to, you have to do a lot of marketing work nonstop, right? So, and I think it's taking a toll on her. So that's one of the key things. So when the job offer came from Europe for another corporate Fortune 5 companies, and I look at it, you see this one is coming from the west, right? So that's one thing. And it's all of the good stars and the indicators all right here, good formation. And very quickly, we will also look at this part is also producing. So very quickly, I'll just tell her that, what, this is what you want to be going for. Accept this job at a certain time. I told her it's between about 5 to 7 p.m., before 7 p.m., right in the evening. And then she got a job. Okay. So this is how we want to be. I'm just giving you different scenarios because Qi Men can be used for so many things. Any things that you want to think of, you can actually plot a Qi Men chart. But first, I'm not going to plot Qi Men chart over the slider thing like where should I be eating today, right? Or where should I be going for a movie today? If you want to do it, you can. I just don't think that is, investment over time, right? So that's one of the key factors. Now, of course, let me go in there a little bit more. Some of you, in fact, a lot of you has already got on board our Qi Men Starter. Now, how many of you is already in the Qi Men Starter? If you are in, just try to type yes, right? So if you're in the Qi Men Starter, type yes, right? Some of you are not yet. You can just type no. Now, Qi Men Starter, this is we launched this last month, so it's a very simple program, just 6 episodes, quick modules to get you started on Qi Men strategy and divination. It actually teach 2 things, strategy and divination, but it's just on a beginner's level, right? So it's to guide those totally zero level knowledge. That is the Qi Men starter. Now, when we actually launched it, it was actually $497 right? And I believe the last round, some of you came in at 197 on pre-launch pricing. Okay, so later on, you probably want to stay on with me. I'll probably give out 5. Okay, 5 of you, if you once have not gone on to the Qi Men starter, 5 of you can still come in at this very special pricing right here. And of course, I'd like to talk a little bit more about the actual official training. Now, if you look at Qi Men strategy itself, now in terms of Qi Men strategy, we are looking at a few things. Okay, so Qi Men strategy, I talk about all the key components that we are covering right here. So in the 12, it's actually a 12 modules. It's a 12 weeks training program. You are actually, every week it will takes about 45 minutes to 1 hour of your time. It's not going to be a lot of time, right? So I think 1 hour investment of time for 1 week is fair. PDF guides, video training are all included, right? So what happens is this, you go through all the 12 modules of training, right? I'll talk about how you actually, go through the charging methodology. So if you understand charging, I think right now it should be pretty clear, right? How to actually do this method, but there are more things that I'll be teaching in terms of using meditation, right? There's higher methods of meditation. And of course, using it for sales and wealth activation, health diagnosis, legal matters, powerful nobleman support, Qi Men hygiene. Qi Men hygiene means that now there are certain rules that we don't do when using a Qi Men strategy, right? So, example, we do not doubt, okay, technically what the universe is trying to tell us. So it doesn't make sense, right? So, example, you are the one that right now, let me just give you a good scenario. So you want to be going to a certain place for food, right? And then you keep doubting yourself, is this the right place to go? Or you want to be driving this car, you keep doubting yourself, is this the right car I want to drive? So that's what we want to be doing in terms of Qi Men Dun Jia. When you want to tap onto the power of the higher energy, the guardian spirits and everything, we do not doubt that energy, whatever is sending the information to us. Now, some of you probably have experienced this before. In fact, this is interesting. Now, a couple of days ago, I was driving, along the road, and I was thinking that, maybe I should just go and grab a burger, right? So of course I was driving, and this burger place happened to be closing at 9, but the time that I actually wanted to go was 8 p.m. Okay, so very quickly, and I was driving, from my office and to the burger place. So from the first traffic light, it was red, right? So I was the only car that didn't pass. Every other car has passed it. The second traffic light, it was red. The third traffic light, it was red again, right? So what happened? Immediately, this just from divination. You don't even need a Qi Men strategy, but I'm just trying to tell you they're all interlinked. Just from this phenomenon, some of you has experienced this before, right? So how many of you experienced that you were driving halfway, suddenly there are forces seems to be stopping you? How many have experienced this before? Type yes. Okay, I want to know how many of you have this sort of experiences. We call that phenomenon, or we call that divine energy phenomenon, right? So let me know how many of you have this sort of experience. Type in yes. Like it's like maybe you're driving, suddenly, all the science is telling you a lot of things. Okay, so technically, right, if you are having this sort of insights, you realize that what the energy is trying to tell you is, hey, you know what? I think you don't have to go to the place. Guess what? I want to test the system. So in my mind, I already know, right? 3 traffic light is a no. Okay, I already know that I shouldn't have gone to this place, but I went anyway just because I want to test, right? I'm not ready to test. In fact, I trust the universe, but I just want to see that I'm 100% correct. So this is what I did. I still drove to the technically the burger place anyway. So when I drove there, I was there at about 8:15. Okay, but guess what? They were already folding their tables and chairs and everything. The staff is still inside, but the closing time is actually still 9 p.m. Okay, this was actually in the very famous burger place. I wouldn't name the place. I don't want any bad fame happening to them, right? So technically, I'm just saying that this is the sign. So when I go there, the staff says, "Guess what? It's closed." Okay, so next time in future, whether you are learning Qi Men strategy or not, you can also be understanding that this part is called the phenomenon of the world energy. When you understand that, you are able to get connected with it. You open yourself to a whole world horizon where you can download so much valuable information in you right now, and that's very powerful because it gives you that sort of gut feelings, maybe sometimes about that someone. So if you're asking that person whether should I be doing this or not, and then the universe is giving you that sort of energy, you need to trust it. Okay, trust it 100% because the universe they don't play a trick on you. It only happens if you are there just to challenge that. All right, that means to say that no, I'll do this Qi Men strategy 10 times just to prove that this thing works. Right, that's like challenging the greater energy. Right, so this is under the Qi Men hygiene I'm talking about here. Right, of course, there's some questions is asking that if you got no foundation and everything, can you still understand them? Definitely you can. Okay, you can. Right, so if you have not have zero, okay, this is coming from Egi Tan. For a person with no metaphysics foundation and everything, can you still grasp? You can, because I've been training metaphysics for a long time. We take you from zero knowledge, you follow my step-by-step manner. Okay, so in fact, I think a lot of my students is right here in the chat. Some of you, if you are my existing training, so I get a lot of yes. These are the people that's already signed up for Qi Men. So pure testimonials. Obviously, I did not get these people as fake followers or what. I don't believe in those things. Of course, certain people will like to buy fake follow this and that. I mean, let them be, right? So for us, we just thought of engaging in the right manner. Okay, so that's one thing we talk about. This is called Qi Men special structure, right? So Qi Men special structure is this. In Qi Men Dun Jia, there's special formation that's very powerful in using certain things. Okay, so this powerful formation, if you look at it, all right, there are certain criteria you have to fulfill. Now, Qi Men application has technically a powerful manner in terms of whereby there is different degree of energy. So example, if you use this formation right now, it's like 60%. There's certain formations like 90%. So if you use that formation for sales, for email blasting, then it's going to be powerful, right? So I'm happy that I've got a lot of students, right? So Joshua started with zero knowledge, he can understand, right? So Joshua is also our student as well, right? So he's already in the Qi Men program. So a lot of you is already in the Qi Men program. So this is why I thought that this Qi Men should reach out to more people. The more that you have, the more powerful that you are, right? So and of course, the last part I'm talking about module 12 again is talking about healing, gaining insights. So some of you wants to do that rebooting. Just now you're saying that you want to reboot your mind, recalibrate, refocus. You can use that, right? So this is all under Qi Men strategy. Qi Men strategy is very easy. It's in fact one of the easiest things to study because there is really nothing much to study except for the fact that you are looking for certain things, what to charge. So example, if I want to be using for sales, I need to look out for these stars. I want to be using it for health, I need to look out for these stars. So that's all you need to do for Qi Men strategy. It's one of the easiest ways to master. If you ask me that maybe divination, there's a little bit more methodology that you can use, but strategy is just straight front upwards on it, right? So that's on the strategy part. And of course, let me just give you guys on to the next one. Okay. So Qi Men Divination, right? Of course, Qi Men Divination is one of the part whereby it's highly in demand, right? A lot of people are seeking the art of divination. When I teach this, I release everything about the, what you can learn about divination. There is no Qi Men Divination higher modules or Qi Men Divination upsell, or next year Qi Men Divination is different, or another year is going to be different. I don't think so, right? So currently right now what happened is with Qi Men Divination, whatever we thought this is in it. Even if next year there is going to be a same training program, probably what will happen is we will put in more case studies, more techniques that we can look at, more levels to study. So let me just roughly go through what is the modules. Of course, the key modules, you realize that they can't be changed because all of these are key things that you have to study when you study Qi Men Dun Jia. But when we talk about divination, how do you actually do a divination chart? So example, just now I told you about, the day is the asker, the hour is the outcome, the month is if that is like coming from a remote question, right? So of course, if you'll be looking at Qi Men divination for your career, then how do you be reading on the career part? So just I'll give you some insights and guideline. That's on a very general level, right? So you look at the open door. That's the first perspective you look for career. But sometimes career, you want to look for more things, not just on the open door. You want to see maybe, right? Is it the boss is going to support me? Can you read it? You can. All right. So in terms of career, there's a lot of questions you want to ask. So how about the colleagues? How will the colleagues see me? Right? Because sometimes, career is just not about just going to work. That's it, right? It's so much more things that you have to handle. You have to handle emotions. You need to handle how to work well with colleagues. And you look at, sometimes different people to work with different attitudes, right? So a lot of things to be looking at. So that's when you want to talk about career, we look at all aspects of career, okay? And of course, we can also be looking at competition. Some people like to analyze this example of sport teams. Which sport teams is likely to gain an upper hand, okay? But strictly, please do not use this for gambling. I strictly advise against gambling because I don't really believe that unless, in your party chart, you have a tremendous amount of powerful indirect wealth stars, or we call it the rock wealth stars, and your luck pillars will be fantastic. I don't recommend that you use Qi Men divination for gambling because sometimes even you can get the teams right, but for some reason in your party chart, you're not destined to receive this money. Something will happen along the way, right? Or some people, you've heard this before, they strike the lottery. After that, they fall sick, okay? They strike the lottery, and then after that, they got cancer. So as always, I also said, those kind of easy money that comes to you, you probably don't want to be a part of it. If you are a part of it, all right, I'm not stopping you. Plus, please make sure a little bit of that money goes to the society, a little bit of the money goes to charity. While you're doing this, it's just a give and take thing, yeah? So if you understand this, you will understand the mechanics. Dealing with deals and examinations, finances, okay? You can use it for health, right? So examinations is technically, if you look at Qi Men, what's going to happen right now, right? Is it going to be a tough paper? Is it going to be easy paper? But it's more for maybe for parents, right? If you look at most of us, we don't use so much in terms of examination, but the deals and finance is important. This is where we talk about sales. How do I win this sales? If I go with step A, right? Should I go with this person to close the sales, or should I go with the higher level to close the sales? Qi Men will tell you whatever you're doing, different action will have different outcome, but all the outcome is already out there. It's shown you all the different outcome, right? Of course, for legal issues, this is only for some people, right? Who has legal problem. Buying property is important. A lot of Singaporean, in fact Malaysian, right? They look at buying investment in the right property, but you probably wouldn't know that is the right property or not, especially the one you stay in. Please, I always emphasize this. Please be very, very, very selective on the property that you stay in. That is 1/3 feng shui energy. If you stay in the wrong place, you don't need a feng shui master to tell you something is wrong with the house. How fast will you know? Very, very simply. Once you move in, 3 to 6 months, you will feel the effect of the energy. Okay? So if everything starts to go down, you know something is wrong with this house already, right? So, but of course, it's up to you to subscribe to it or not. But obviously, you're in my channel here. I think you're already a metaphysics user, right? So I'm not here to explain to you whether feng shui works or not. I don't need you to subscribe to it as well. I mean, technically, feng shui is just energy. Whether it works or not, you just measure your own, achievement, then you will know it. Relationship. This is widely used. Okay, whether you're using it for how to get back in a better relationship, what your partner thinking right now, or how do you win this courtship? It's all about relationship. And of course, you got all other special bonuses. And I also like to remind you that when you got on board the Qi Men divination, right? It actually comes with also 2 days masterclass, right? That's a live masterclass. But of course, the masterclass can only be carried out when the government announce it's actually safe to carry out, because I certainly don't want any of my students to be infected with COVID-19, because students' life is very, very important to me. I don't want to risk them in any way. But I'm pretty sure that, once that is over, it will be over, by the way, because all energy in terms of, if you talk about pandemic, all pandemics, you look at their history, 1 to 3 years. Okay, most pandemics, you look at it, is 1 to 3 years. After that, the energy will be over. most people will be, going back to their norm, right? So that's one part we'll be looking at. And of course, this is how I'm actually sharing in terms of right. So Qi Men Dun Jia. Now, some of you probably got some questions, right? So in case that you do not know how am I actually getting to the Qi Men, right? It's actually you can go to your kevinf.co/Qi Men. This is a part that currently the enrollment for Qi Men Divination and Strategy is open, right? So we opened this enrollment for about 5 days. Right after the enrollment, then it goes back to the usual fee, right? So you want to get on board 50% discount, come on board this program. You be sure that this is the best investment that you had because it gives you insights in everything that you do. Now, equipped with this, what can this achieve for you? A lot more. You want to use it for sales, then you can 10x your income. Okay. You want to use it for technically, relationship. To me, relationship is priceless. I don't even put a price tag on it. Okay, your close one that's in your life right now, they are all priceless. Okay, these people, they are there for you for a reason, right? So relationship is good, treasure them. But if you are having some problems, then you can use Qi Men to look at how do you implement. Like if you actually recall, some of you I actually taught you how to actually improve your relationship. There's one episode I actually teach, someone call in and out there I tell them to remove certain things inside the house. That is part of Qi Men Feng Shui to affects the outcome. Does it work? It works 100% all the time. Just a time factor is will be shown. That means technically, Qi will tell you how long this effect will comes in, how long the effects after you remove this it will goes away. So that's really under the Qi Men Dun Jia, right? Reading every battles in life. This is exactly what I'm doing here. Of course, before I go on further, I will of course I'll do a few more things. I'm going to end this pretty soon, but I'll do a few more things. You want to stay with me on this? Okay, I'll give you the link to download the PDF. The PDF will come with a powerful date and time for sales, winning contract, negotiation, getting a job offer, right? So you want to stick with me on that. So I'll give you instruction for that very quickly. And of course, I also will be picking a lucky winner. So let me just pick a lucky winner for our 八字 Jumpstart. So some of you has been keying in your like and share. This is good, okay? So this will actually get you selected. So if you have not done that, please help me to like and share the videos. So every like and share, and when you do that sharing, right, you need to set it to public so you become a sharer, right? So again, this is where it is. I'll actually do a refresh, okay, to see that how many of, let me just get into this, yeah? So it's expired, okay. Let me just get into this right now. Okay, how should I get into this? Okay. Let me just do this refresh right now and see what is okay. Now, I got this is under Christina Lim, right? So the first one, like and share after I did the 3 refresh. Okay. So this is under Christina Lim. Congratulations. Okay. So you will actually get on board our 八字 Jumpstart program, valued at $497. I hope that helps to change your life. So for Christina Lim, later on, right, do let me, message me and my team, right? So we can actually get some of your details, right? And of course, for Qi Men, those of you is already on the program, I look forward to seeing you, getting started on the 16th. 16 is our launch date for Qi Men Divination first, right? So Qi Men Divination, the first module will be released on the 16th. Those of you still want to come on board, you still got a 50% discount. All right. Now, for those of you, you totally have zero knowledge of Qi Men, you just want to test it, okay, you can, right? I actually will provide 5 lucky winners, right? So maybe not lucky winners, 5 selected winners. You can get on board our Qi Men Starter. Now, remember this Qi Men Starter is a beginner's program. It's at $497. Probably give 5 of you and access to get it at $197, right? So you come in to get on board the starter program. But remember this, once you want to get on board to the full training program in strategy and Qi Men, this is the only time you are taking in the enrollment. So it's between now to the next few days. So please make sure that you can come in. And of course, it also comes with the online coaching session. These are live session that's done with me, right? So which means to say that we'll go through some of the case studies, we'll go through some of the methodologies that you can come on board on our Zoom meetings, right? This is not done by my instructors. This is done by me personally. So you will be able to get access to our Qi Men Divination and Qi Men Strategy, right? So for a lot of you that is waiting to kind of like download the guides, this is, let me just give you the instructions, right? So once you be downloading the guide, right? So this is at Qi Men, just key Qi Men guide, right? So make sure that you once you punch in, what will happen is the back end system. I think my team has set up the back end system will message you, right? So they will send this to your email. So please make sure they provide the correct email. Some of you is providing email like aaaa@bbb.com. Then obviously the guide cannot go through, right? So it's very simple, right? Understand that we don't send you spams, right? Anything that we send you are useful information that we think can help you, right? So make sure that you can come on board, right, to the Qi Men guide. So as you can see, a lot of you has already come on board to the system itself. I want more of you to be able to getting access to this. And those of you are already in system, I will see you in my online training pretty soon, right? On the 15th, on the 16th is launch, right? And subsequently there will be an online coaching session, okay? Right after, once you hit a certain modules, we'll go into the coaching session so we can start to discuss real case studies. This is the interesting part, okay? So interesting part where the case studies we will put out and guide you, some of you, how to be reading some of your. So every part of that training will make sure that I sharpen your skill sets for Qi Men Dun Jia. This is the most powerful method to be learning. Now, of course, you don't key in your email right here. Just type in Qi Men Guide. When you type in Qi Men Guide, it will actually prompt you to ask for your email, right? So you don't type in your email in the comment section. Just type Qi Men Guide, okay? So don't type your email right here, right? So for the training, a lot of you is asking for the training. You can get on it at kevinf.co/Qi-Men, okay? So all the different pricing option is right there. In fact, if you're getting the Qi Men Divination and strategy, both system together, you get even more additional discount on top of the 50% you're getting, right? So get onto the kevinf.co/Qi-Men, right? So I think my team will post this onto the comment section. So if you don't know where it is, just click it in, okay? So once you click it in, you will get access to the training itself, right? So once you do the enrollment, you'll be in the system on the 16th itself. Automatically, you start to open up. You'll be in it for the first training modules, right? So questions and answers. Okay, let's do a bit of Q&A. Okay, how many of you has question to ask about the training program? Just feel free to punch it in right now, so I can maybe spend about 5 minutes, right, to answer a little bit of the questions. Okay, so I hope you enjoy, little Qi Men training like that. I try not to go too advanced because sometimes some people just cannot catch up, right? So I need to treat some of you as beginners level. But of course, in my training, I'll go all the way to a very advanced level. If even you start from zero, it's fine because I have trained so many thousands of students over the world. I have managed to take them from zero knowledge, right? So just now, have you seen from Joshua has stated himself, zero knowledge. Right now, he can read. Okay, this is how powerful it is. I specialize in making things simple, right? So this is what I've been doing for a long time. So technically, any of your questions that you have right now, you could be punching in. Okay, so just make sure. So of course, Evelyn Cole was nice to share. Thank you, Evelyn. Right, so that's kevinf.co/Qi-Men. Okay, so the online coaching is after you complete certain modules, or what is the usual timing? Okay, the online coaching is this. First and foremost, after you complete about 4 modules, okay, because I need you to complete some modules first, else the online coaching, there's nothing to analyze, right? So once you complete some of the modules itself, you really get it started. You have some knowledge on how do you do divination, or you have some knowledge on how do you do strategy, okay? Then we can start to, I'll put together an online coaching session where you all get in, and then you can ask any question, right? So that's easy for us to interact. While, of course, Qi Men Divination, there is 2 days live class. There is still a live class that will be carried on, okay? So just to make sure that I always enjoy meeting my students, right? So even after your online training, I still want to meet you guys live because sometimes live, the interaction is just more fun. But of course, right now it's COVID-19. I understand that, right? So I just want to tell you guys, I'm not postponing any of my events. So a lot of my events right now, once, it's phase 3, you can host the events. Because right now, there's a lot of restriction. We cannot host anything that's more than 10 students, right? 10 or 20 students. Technically, in one class, we have 500 students or 1,000 students. So how do I can't accommodate like 50 students and I do 10 sessions. I probably can't cope with that, right? So it's more easy that we can put everyone together in the live class. So the session of the timing, don't worry, for Erin Lu, right? So if you, Erin Lu, so once we go through the online session, if you can go through the live one, is great because you can ask live questions. Now, even you cannot go through online, after that it's recorded. Okay, you can still access the recording. So in case that you say you can't come on board this live training at this time, because sometimes we put out live training, we have to cater to the majorities, right? So I understand some of you may not be able to make it a certain date and time. That's fine. That's why my team will have this archived to a proper level. So if you cannot attend the live one, it's okay. You can still get access to the technically the recorded training. So Jack, I can't read Chinese language and I see so many Chinese words. Jack, don't worry about it, because if you realize in the Qi Men Dun Jia plotter and profiler, there's all the English is part of it. I teach all the courses is in English. So I don't mention any Chinese word, right? So even Chinese word I mentioned is all your jia, yi, bing, ting. These are like abbreviations that we refer to when we look at a certain chart. But there is English, technically translation right on the plotter, as well as on the training, as well as on the PDF guide. So totally, if you don't read Chinese, that's fine. All my students, I have a lot of students from Manila. Who are my students from Philippines? Please type yes right now. Show them that you can actually do this without learning Chinese. Manila was actually my first place that I went to taught. Right, students there, they can't do Chinese, they can't do Mandarin, but they are very proficient with English. I have another group of students, they are the Russians. You'll be surprised, right? My Russian students are some of the most fanatics when it comes to learning. Okay, in fact, my Russian students can even memorize some of those Chinese characters. It's not required, but if technically all the guides is provided, so no worries about not able to learn Chinese. Okay, so this is coming from Bob. Will there be karma if I ask Qi Men for too many questions? No, technically there isn't, because technically you are just asking questions based on the current time space. Okay, there is no karma unless you are plotting for something, there's evil plot behind this intention. Then I can't help you with that, right? So as often we use these tools is for us to get clarity, to know what sort of things that we want to do and what sort of outcome we want to achieve. It's always about the intended desired outcome, right? So don't worry about the karma thing, because I've been using this for 20 plus years. So if there's karma, I think I'll be the first one to be getting it for asking too much questions, right? So no, there isn't, right? So it's just a tool for you to use. In fact, if you study 八字, right, you study Qi Men, you study Feng Shui, all of these are just knowledge. Knowledge has passed down since thousands and thousands of years. Okay, the scholars has used it. The imperial emperor has advisors inside their palaces, right, that helps them to plan all of this thing. So all this is just analyzing the stars. So example, if you look at Western astrology part of it, you also will study that is, Western astrology, there is Vedic astrology. All this is studying like the planets, right? So all those are again a system. You can also ask the same questions and still formulate and come up with the same answers. It all goes down to how much hours you invested in the knowledge. I don't believe there is one knowledge that's more superior than other knowledge. Is always about how much time you invested in something, right? So just like Bruce Lee always says that, he rather kick that one move 1,000 times rather than practice 10,000 different types of martial arts, right? So this is what I always believe in. I always seek mastery in whatever I practice. I go crazy, I go all out. So that's why, we have our apps and everything. Because when you do all of this thing, you really went deep into the subject. It's easy to, just buy some apps and then just offer here and there. But technically, our parts apps, we develop ourselves in-house, right? Right now, our Qi Men app is also developed by our good developer friends, right? So every of this is help us to push the boundary further. I hope this answers questions. And of course, we have Tong Tong, Cai Tong Tong. Okay, how to know if a bad financial situation is due to feng shui or 八字? What if I interpret chart wrongly? Okay, technically is this. There is such thing called annual luck that's due to your 八字. Okay, but of course, right now, if you actually move in that place right after 3 to 6 months, you don't feel good, and after that, there's a lot of differences in whatever you're achieving right now. That's when it's all got to do with the house. Okay, now 八字 luck often happen in 1 or 2 years, but it don't usually go beyond unless you really go through 10 years very negative luck cycle, right? So I hope, but this is of course a bit related to 八字. For 八字, you can come on board our 八字mastery training. Do contact our team that we can also give you access to the training itself, right? So do I need to choose a timing to ask something or plot anytime? Felice, you don't have to. So example, if I have a question right now, so what I did is I will just plot the current date and time. Okay. So, and this is something that we don't do. Example. So if I plot the current date and time, and then I read it, I get a negative outcome, and then I don't trust it. I want to plot again. Maybe I plot next hour, I'll ask again. Then this is something that we call in Qi Men, we don't do it, right? Because usually whenever you plot it now, whatever the reading appears to you, this is the outcome of the question you're asking in this current time frame. Okay, but of course, if you ask the question maybe 1 week later or 1 month later, the chart changed. Does that mean that your circumstances has changed? Yes, right? Because there's so many things that could be happening. So, example, some people asking, "Will I get a job now?" Right? They ask Qi Men, and then the answer is no. And then they ask ask the same questions 1 month later, right? From same company, and then the answers now is yes, because by then the company has a position that really requires you to come in, or by then the directors have seen your resume and thinks that you are a good fit, right? So there's a lot of things that we'll be looking at, but technically when you need to ask anything, you can just be using a Qi Men chart directly, right? So this is for Ruta. Is the stars more powerful? Not actually in that sense. Now, every of the mechanics in Qi Men can be used, right? From the stars, you got the 9 stars, you got the 8 deities, you got the heaven stamp and earth stamp, and as well as the door. So there's 5 components inside a Qi Men chart. Of course, other things are like death and emptiness, traveling horse, all these things. But this will affect the status of the palaces itself. But every of this actually has a meaning to it, right? You can read any of these things right here. So it's not about a case of which stars is more powerful. It's more about what does all of this serve in terms of interpretation, right? So, for example, stars will be talking about technically, what sort of guardian angel or guardian energy you are tapping onto if you're using Qi Men strategy. Okay, so that's one part to be looking at. So Helen is asking, which is better, divination or strategy? Okay, so it depends, right? If you just want to be example, you want to learn how to charge energy to get the outcome that you want, then straightforwardly is strategy. Okay, so strategy is very simple. If I want to be looking for sales, then I'll look at Qi Men chart. I look for these few days to the next few days. Is there good date and time? So once you find, oh, there's a good time, maybe 3 days later, right? So you get onto Qi Men Dun Jia. 3 days later, there's a good time. So generally what happened, then I'll use that date to actually send my job resume or do my sales call. This is how I do it. But if you say that I want to get answers on everything, all right, then you want to use divination, right? So divination allows you to see the current situation and then tells you that if you go with option A, what happens? If you go with option B, what happens? Right? So to answer questions, to make good decisions, you want to use divination. To be able to charge energy to get the outcome that you want, you just use strategy. So strategy is very simple. It's just knowing that, what do I want to, you want to charge for health, then I will find which date and time is good for health, and then I'll go into that date and time. Again, you do the 3 things, right? You set the intention, get into position, you set intention again, and then you do your task. That's it, right? Divination is more of like interpretation, that's all, right? To give you better options to make better decisions. That's for divination. But to me, both are equally powerful, right? So if you want to think which one you should get started first, I think you can come on board strategy first, right? Because it's definitely much more easier because it's about selecting the right date and time to do the different activities. That's it, right? So this is from Jared John. Okay, Master, about the remote question you're referring to, like someone asked you the questions, it's not you, so we use the month instead of the day. Yeah, that is right. Okay, so this for Jared is asking that in terms of if someone is asking you the question, then you are not the one asking, then you use the month versus the hour, right? So that will be covered. Jared is already on board the Qi Men Divination, if I'm not wrong, right? So Jared, if you're on board, just type yes, right? Let me know you're already on board. I kind of remember my team mentioned that you're already on board the Qi Men Divination, which is going to be launched on the 16th. So you'll get to know how to actually utilize this part, no worries. So so this is a question from Aggie Tan. Are you in Singapore or Malaysia? I'm from Singapore, but we have tons of students from Malaysia, tons of students from Singapore, all parts of the world. In fact, like I mentioned, Philippines, we have from Spain, Cambodia, Amsterdam. I have good amount of clients from Europe, right? You'd be surprised these days, it's not just the Eastern people that's practicing this. A lot of Westerners already know how to use this. If you don't believe me, just go and Google, Qi Men Dun Jia. You realize there are some Qi Men training video probably is done by Westerners, right? So a lot of people already understand how powerful the art is. So it's not just the Chinese that know how to use this, right? Okay. So, okay, any more questions? Just keep it coming. If not, I will probably just get you guys a day. You guys have already spent almost 1 hour and 46 minutes. Thank you so much for the support, right? I'm grateful for everything that happened in my life. I'm always very grateful, including a session like that, including for your support. I'm very grateful for that because I always believe everything that we do, there's affinity. If not today, you will not be today right here listening to me. You could just spend your 1.5 hour watching, your favorite movies and program. So I hope that this little affinity that we have, I hope I can bring it further. I hope that I can pass down more valuable wisdom and knowledge, whatever I know right now, right? I'm still learning. Okay, I cannot say that I learned everything. There is often better knowledge out there. To me, I always believe there is so much more knowledge and wisdom out in the whole world, right? So for me, I thrive on being a learner for life. So for me, it's all about learning, right? So of course, in my training program, every year when I learn more things, I'll just insert it inside. This is how I've been doing it. In fact, I've been doing this for coming 20 years. I've been teaching since 2010, right? So 2010, I started teaching, but I've been in research for for 20 years, right? So this is coming from, okay, Jackie Chan. Wow. Okay. Are you teaching using, okay, so this is basically a bit more technical. I'll just explain, right? So it's asking, are you teaching using Zilun or Cai Bu Fa, or the Yin Pan or Yang Pan, right? So these are more technical systems of Qi Men. Now Qi Men itself, there are different ways of plotting the chart. Now Cai Bu is one technique that they plot without inserting certain days and time, intercalendar changing, right? Zilun is more of there will be a stage whereby we will insert more to make the adjustment, because technically Qi Men Dun Jia is not meant for 365 days, right? So the Cai Bu will handle that pretty well, right? But in terms of Zilun, you want to stretch it out over 365 days, there's some insertion. Now, technically, the method I'm teaching here is using Zilun. All right. So if you want to be understanding, the lineage that I have is from Taiwan. Okay. So all my training is from Taiwan, and I got a lot more mentors that's from China as well. Right. So China, they are more using Cai Bu, but both system actually works. You don't really need to worry about which system is more accurate. Actually, I work on both systems. They are equally accurate when it comes to the part of interpretation. Right. So and of course, thanks for helping to do a live Qi Men Feng Shui previously. I did the exchange. Oh, okay. So that's Eddie Tan. So I'm glad you benefited from our previous session, whereby we gave a live consultations and asked you to do certain energy at home. You're donated to a needy child. Thank you so much, because you see, the money is not about money that's coming. I have no worries about this thing, because you see, you just need to understand one thing. When you are so good in one thing, that means every day just spend your time doing one thing. So it's all about adding value and providing value to other people. You will never run out of business. I hope you get my point on this. So all I'm trying to inspire you guys is just be so good in that one thing that you're doing. If you're an accountant, right? So just be so good in your accountancy work that you present the best facts, the figures, the research to people who actually use your service. You will not run out of business, because this is the world right now works well on the person that provides the most value ever. I think you agree with me on that, right? So for us, all I'm doing here is this. I know that whatever I'm doing, I just have to be providing that to the best of my service, the best of my effort. The rest is let the universe take care of it for you. The universe will send all the amazing people your way, right? So as long you understand this, then you will understand this is the mechanics of giving and taking. So you see some of the sessions that we do actually on Facebook Live, we didn't ask you guys to pay anything, right? In fact, we're only saying that if you want to come for the official class, yes, you're more than welcome, because official class, we spend a lot of time teaching, grooming you, online training, spending time with you. So that obviously there will be some cost and some little investment for that. But other than that, you look at all my Facebook Live training, I never ask you guys for a single cent, right? So this is why we say that every little energy goes to help that little someone. You don't know who is going to require this more often than not, right? So help others when you can, okay? I hope that you all share my same philosophy. So this is what we are doing here. Now, so you can do donation to needy child, to temples, to the churches, no issue. Understand this, whatever I'm discussing here got nothing to do with religion, yeah? So you need to separate them apart. Okay, any more last questions before I actually call it a day for you guys? I'm just afraid you guys are too tired, right? Because I know it's Saturday night, right? We had yesterday I was watching election, right? I mean, I think every Singaporean needs to be a part of that, right? It's the future of all our children. So for that, I was watching election till very late, but I'm still bright awake today. I'm so excited to be looking at you guys. Okay, so all right, wow. Okay, so this is coming from GJ Jane. Thank you for your sharing. Will sign up your advanced course after I secure my job. After the last Qi Men date you gave, my temp job offer me a full-time job on 1 month. Hope I pass. Congratulations, Jane. This is what I'm talking about. So all the date and time, in fact, I provided that in my guides, right? So some of you have already downloaded the guides. Okay, so the guides has the next date and time. Please don't waste it. Okay, I know this. You see, when sometimes things is provided to you for free, sometimes you will not appreciate. Do you know these are the type of consultation I do? It will cost people a few $1,000s, right? For an hour consultation, that's my rate, right? And I'm still fully booked 45 days in advance. So I'm trying to tell you guys first that the date and time that I provided to you guys, please put it to good use, right? So I know it's free, but once you understand that, if you appreciate that this is actually something that people will pay thousands of dollars for, then this is just to help you to get the outcome that you want. That's all I want for you. That's all, right? So you don't have to be right getting to the part whereby I think, hey, this is free, probably not going to use it. Then that's really up to you, right? So anyway, I've taught you some of the knowledge and information. So I hope that you understand. You see, for someone like Jane, she has benefited just from using a powerful date and time, not getting a job, from a temp job to a perm job. You see, all these people are live people. You guys are the live fans. You just came in and give in all your live testimony. So which I'm very thankful for that. Thank you so much for all of your support. And I hope that all this knowledge that I'm teaching you actually improve your life. And of course, any more last questions? Let me looking at Eddie. Okay, Eddie Tan, you're right. Doing the live session benefited, help someone in need. Thank you. But technically, all I have to say, Eddie, is you actually also help yourself, right? Why do I say that? You could have spent that 1 hour doing nothing, doing something else, right? So for the 200 plus people that was with me right now, you actually spend this evening for something. So you must understand this. All this don't happen by just by chance. Okay, there is some energy, some high energy from the spirit and dimension is pushing your way, trying to get you to achieve something. You just need to be very sensitive to the energy that's trying to tell you. Okay, so technically, once you understand this, then you actually are the one that aligns this to your effort. Okay, so if you didn't participate, you didn't spend the time, even I want to help you, I can't. Right. So of course, thanks all the fans and supporters for sharing and liking the post. This is what exactly I meant. You will reach someone out there that really needs such help at the moment, and then they may not be able to get it, right? And after that, your sharing is the one that's going to help you to accumulate a lot of good merits, right? So this is what we are looking at. So for the date and time, if you don't know where I'm actually talking about, is in the Qi Men guide, right? So if you can't get it, just type Qi Men guide, right? So you should be able to get access to it. Okay, so I think I should answer a lot of the questions, right? So currently right now, the enrollment is open for the Qi Men Divination and Strategy. This is the complete course, right? So after this, there is no more Qi Men Divination Part 2, Qi Men Divination Part 3. No, I don't believe in doing that, right? So this is just, if you want to study Qi Men Divination, that is it. If you want to study Qi Men Strategy, this is it. But of course, there is a Qi Men Destiny. This is for a small part of people who may want to master that because they are trained in Bazi and other sort of metaphysics. Okay, not everyone may want to master Qi Men Destiny. Right? There's also Qi Men Feng Shui. Qi Men Feng Shui can also be for Feng Shui masters, or for people who want to study the architectural layout of Feng Shui or using Feng Shui methodologies. So to me, that's a very small subset of very small amount of people may want to be learning that. But Qi Men Strategy is something you can use it daily, and I mean it. Divination, we ask ourselves questions all the time, right? So this is where we'll be looking at. So if the date and time, Singapore time, or if overseas, do you have to offset the time? No, you don't have to, right? You depending on where you are from, you just plot your current date and time. You realize my Qi Men plotter has a now button. When you are, example in US, you just click now. What it will do, it will detect where you are connecting from, and then you will plot the time. Okay, so it's based on your local time, so you don't have to worry about technically, do you have to offset the time? You don't have to, right? So I think it's good for you guys. Yes. Okay, cool. Let me just see any more questions. Okay, this is from Anna Tan. Thank you, Master Kevin. With Qi Men date, we make some money in stocks. Wow, this is very good testimonials. Thank you. Right. So donated rice to Philippines and Cambodia and old folks in Singapore. Thank you, Anna. I think your kind generosity will go a long way to help a lot more people. So again, you see, all I did is just to provide a little advice. It is you guys who capitalize on this advice, and after that, you use it to magnify and change people's life. That's the powerful part, right? So all I did is I'm just providing a small connection here, right? By teaching you guys some knowledge that I've been using this for a long time. Now, without Qi Men, without feng shui, without 八字, I've never been able to build an 8-digit portfolio. Not ever, right? So this is how it's completely possible for us. And of course, Anna Tan, I will save this screenshot. This is a very nice screenshot that we have, right? Technically, as people who has actually benefited from using our Qi Men advice. So again, if you are still pondering, come on board the Qi Men strategy. You get to plot this yourself every other time. All right. So you don't need to wait for me to give you a date and time. So the one I give you date and time is just for some of you, you want to be testing a little bit, you can use mine, right? So a lot of people has tested. Anna Tan has tested. Jane has tested, got herself a job. Anna Tan has made good money in stocks. I'm happy for her, right? So again, if you want to be using this Qi Men strategy yourself, come on board the Qi Men strategy yourself. You can do this anytime, right? Look at the good dates and time. I'll teach you step by step with a Qi Men plotter. You get it out at your fingertip, right? And the Qi Men plotter is meant for your mobile view. You can do it very quickly. You're using desktop, no issues, right? So Qi Men Divination is for you to answer every pressing questions that you may have about your life and the direction. Okay, so I hope that I have answered most of your questions, and so much that I actually, are there any more feng shui courses after 八字? Yes, there is. So for Mr. Su, feng shui is available after we have launched the Qi Men strategy and Qi Men Divination. That is sometime in August. Okay, so in August onwards, we will launch our feng shui class. You will actually get the information on that. It will be somewhat a setting like this. Likewise, every time when we launch a class, Qi Men starters with a few thousand students, same with 八字 Jumpstart with a few thousand students, right? So of course, those are beginners program, right? So once we get on to the official program, sometimes we will get a few hundreds of them, right? So for divination, a couple of hundreds of you. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope that there is no more questions, right? Will you be giving a date and time for activation as mentioned just now? So Helen, I mentioned it's inside the Qi Men guide. So if you have not downloaded the Qi Men guide, the date and time is inside. Okay, so download the Qi Men guide, type Qi Men guide. When you type that, it will actually ask you to download. So it's a PDF file. The date and time is right inside to teach you how to actually use that. Okay, so for anything else, of course, you can come on board the program itself. You get to learn this yourself, right? So I hope you technically enjoy this session that I have actually put out for you guys here. I will see if there's still times for the next couple of days. If I can, I try to get on board more often. So if some of you has your Qi Men strategy, you're already on board, and you have some more questions, I can take out some more questions from there, and then we can take it from there. I hope that this will start to give you guys a lot more insights on using Qi Men Dun Jia. You realize that actually Qi Men Dun Jia is technically very simple system to use. So this coming from Oi. If answer is good, producing hour. If answer is no, then producing in and out. Yes, this is correct. So your basic interpretation is correct, right? So I assume you're already in the Qi Men starter, right? So Qi Men starter will get you do very basic divination. The Qi Men Divination and Qi Men strategy are the full class, right? So get onto the program itself, and then after that, I shall put up the link right here. Okay, so it's at kevinf.co/Qi And I hope you enjoy tonight's episodes. I look forward to seeing you guys again. Right? Please remember to join our Telegram group. If you have not gotten our Telegram group, please make sure you join, because a lot of the informations over the next few days and hours, technically what I would be doing is I'll put some valuable insights in the Telegram group. So if you have not gotten Telegram group, please make sure that you're in. So for Eddie is asking, how do you get a 197? Okay, what you can do is just type Qi Men guide. I think there will be instructions from the back end that they will send you the instructions on how to get this promotional pricing. You just want to come on the Qi Men starter program. I hope that helps you. Okay, so I hope you have a very good night. And this is Master Kevin Fong signing off. Just